March is Women's History Month, a time to celebrate the incredible women who are shaping the world and making an impact in their communities. This year, we're dedicating the month to conversations with women who are making history with their message of health, wellness, and empowerment. To kick things off, I'm honored to welcome Tessa Arnold, Chopra Health Instructor and co-founder of the Balance of You company. Tessa is on a mission to help women reconnect with their bodies, listen to the signals they're sending, and embrace self-care as a path to true well-being. So, friend, if you're ready to address fatigue, stress, or physical discomfort by listening to your body, then grab a notebook and pen and let's dive in. Hey friend, welcome to Integrative Medicine for Energy and Health. Are you struggling with low energy, excessive weight, chronic fatigue, imbalanced hormones, or body aches and pains that are robbing you of enjoying life? If you're ready to take the guesswork out of living a healthier life, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Rekishia. I'm a mom, honorably retired Air Force veteran, award-winning author, social worker, and Christian alternative medicine provider. For years, I tried improving my health through conventional medicine and nothing worked until I finally found a simple strategy that was easy and fun. This podcast will provide you with natural ways to increase energy, lose weight, regulate hormones, and improve your mood. If you're ready to live, look, and feel better, grab your favorite cup of herbal tea and let's jump in. Welcome to Integrative Medicine for Energy and Health. I'm your host, Rekishia McMillan, bringing you expert insights on holistic wellness, metabolic health, and mindful living. A very special welcome to all new and returning listeners. Today we have an inspiring conversation with Tessa Arnold. You know, too often as women, we push through exhaustion, stress, and discomfort, dismissing the early signs of imbalance. But as Tessa shares, tuning in and taking action can prevent long-term health issues and lead to a more vibrant and fulfilled life. Her journey from the corporate world to holistic wellness is both inspiring and instructive, offering practical steps to prioritize self-care in a way that nourishes both body and soul. So, friend, join us as we celebrate women's health, resilience, and the transformative power of listening to our bodies. This is just the beginning of an incredible month of conversations. Stay tuned for more stories from women who are making history in health. I am super excited about today's show. I am just beyond grateful to be able to host a very special guest. Today we have with us Tessa Arnold. And for those of you that are new to Tessa, I just want to share a little bit about her background before we get into today's interview. So Tessa Arnold, she's the co-founder and COO of Snapback Energy and founder of the Balance of You company, where she merges her background in global banking with a passion for holistic wellness. Following a transformative shift triggered by her late husband's passing, she founded Snapback Energy, exploring the mind-body connection. Now with the Balance of You company, Tessa integrates the principles of the mind, body, and soul connection into everyday life experiences. Driven by her own journey of self-discovery and the realization of the importance of balance, Tessa advocates for holistic living. The mission of the Balance of You is to simplify the path for you to experience balance and fulfillment through your everyday life experiences. So Tessa, I'm excited. I'm overjoyed. I'm thrilled. Welcome to today's show.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here to talk about all those things. I was just listening and I was like, yes, let's do it. Right? Let's cultivate all of that into our lives and call it in.
There you go. There you go. And so you have a very interesting background, Tessa. So how does someone transition from global banking and into health and wellness? How did you get into this space?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start by saying my career, was in the global banking realm, and I worked for two large global corporations, which I absolutely loved. I loved my time working for them. It was 12 years. I was at home there. I knew what to expect. I loved the structure, flourished under it. And while some things were going on in my personal life, it was kind of my safe haven in a storm. I loved being there. I knew what I was doing, and I like to think that I did it well, and that was my career trajectory. And then as many things happen in our lives, I was going to be thrusted onto another path. And it really was, I'd say, a cultivation of things that were going on in my personal life, which caused me to have to take a step back. And at the time that I took a step back, I thought intentionally that it would just be temporarily. And it was. I did end up going back to banking after I took my first step back. But at the same time, I also was at a pivotal place in my life where, while everything was seemingly going well from the outside looking in to anybody else, I was struggling profoundly. I was struggling with, who I saw in the mirror. So complete identity crisis. I was struggling with, and I have names for these things now, but please, anybody who's listening, mind you, I didn't know what to call it then. All I knew that I was in the midst of, a tornado, and I didn't know how to get out of it. But then life has a way of taking you exactly where you need to go if you let it and don't put up too much resistance. So I finally said enough, and I took a leave of absence from work to be able to handle what was going on in my personal life. I think I was about 35 pounds heavier. My skin was not, vibrant and light. It was very dull. When I looked at myself, I couldn't really see myself in the mirror, and I was doing all the things. I had two small children. I was keeping them going. My relationship was going through a tricky phase, and, my husband was struggling with his own things that he was going through. And I found that I was trying to pour out and contain what was happening around me and juggling all the balls in the air. And I was breaking at the same time, trying to keep everything together. I did it for so long without recognizing that it wasn't working, that it impacted me. It almost broke, and it broke me in a lot of ways. And I say that with a lot of grace, and I'm so thankful for that self, because it didn't know any better, and it was just trying to survive. And in that survival mode, and when I finally said enough, I physically manifesting so much pain in my body, I can't continue on like this. I had hit my breaking point. And when I finally said enough and just let everything fall metaphorically, and said, I've got to focus on my kids. I've got to focus on myself. Wow, what a statement. I hadn't ever really said that before, and I didn't necessarily know what that meant. But that bridge sort of this journey, the bridge I was going to walk over into what it looked like to take care of myself. Because I think up until that point, even from early on in my life, we can say teenage years, I don't know that I ever had a healthy way of setting boundaries and what self-care looked like. I knew how to continuously pour out of my cup. I'll tell you that much, like many of us do, but I didn't realize the toll that takes on you.
You just said so many things, Tessa. And as you shared, sometimes as women, because we are the nurturers, we're taking care of children, we're taking care of husbands, we're taking care of employment, we're taking care of all of the things.
Right.
And in the midst of all of that, we're not practicing the self-care, personally. And, we're pouring out, we're giving so much until, as you shared with your story, you just hit a wall to say, I just can't do this anymore.
Right.
And so what was one of the first steps that you took, Tessa, to begin nurturing you?
I see it so vividly when we talk about this, because I was on an airplane flying to see a client. I think I had traveled about 3 times that week, which was typical for me, and I did love it. But I had so much pain in my neck and shoulders that I could barely keep my head up straight. And anxiety, and not about the client. I knew what I was doing. I went into the board meeting as I always did. 10 people in there, gave the presentation, fantastic, kudos, the stuff that I thrive on, because I was able to just push down for an hour. I was like, I know I can push this down on the hour, and typically I could maintain that composure and keep it all tampered and on the inside for so much longer. But I got back on that plane and I just melted in my seat. I was in so much pain physically in my shoulders and neck, and I had anxiety getting back home, and it was just had nothing to do with work, but it was like, okay, now it's showing itself. And my body, if it will show you, and it will yell and scream, I need you to see me. I need you to feel me. We're not doing well. And I finally heard it, and I decided at that point, I made a doctor's appointment that week, and I went in to speak with my practitioner, who was fantastic and really, wasn't just looking at symptoms, was trying to get down to the root cause with me, which I didn't even realize. But I think it takes you sitting in front of somebody who understands, that, as you do, the beautiful gift of medicine from the inside out, and the body. And she said, you can't go on like this. And I said, I can. She goes, I'm going to recommend, a leave of absence. And I, of course, I'm like, what? Why? I can't do that. No, let everybody down. I can't let anybody down. How could I do that? Right? The gravity of that statement still resonated so heavily with me, that how could I let somebody down? And she said, we had a very candid conversation of what this would look like if I continued on like this, and what would fall apart, because it's just not realistic to be able to stay at this pace. She also recommended that I go talk to somebody else, a therapist as well.
Yeah.
And at that point, I knew I was at a stage, I knew well enough, I'm in my early 30s, that I needed to be open to these conversations, as heavy as it was. So I took her advice, which was the best thing that I ever did. And I took a leave of absence, and I signed up for, therapy sessions, and we started to do the work. And I bought a book. I think it was Michael Singer's Untethered Soul. And I still have that book. I'm looking at it right now on my bookshelf. And I read that book, and it took me some time. And I'll tell you, I barely understood a lot of it at that point. I've since read it a few times at different stages. But I was like, wow, there's so much more to unpack here and uncover. And those were the first steps that I took.
Wow. Wow. And so listening to your body, because our bodies have a language. And as you say, sometimes they're screaming. They're, the symptoms are the voices that come from our bodies. And so you took time to listen and leaned into that to get the help and the just pouring back into yourself that was so needed, even through the therapy work, because sometimes, we can be hesitant about talking to someone else, or even just letting go of all the things, Tessa.
Right.
When you're used to
right.
It can be hard to let go, but not realizing that in the letting go, that's where the freedom is at.
Yes. And what's been stacked on you as we, think about it. Picture, for anybody who's listening, close your eyes. If you're not driving, it can. And just picture yourself, being born, right? You're clean slate. You're being born. You don't have any opinions. You don't have any judgments. There's nothing that you need to be doing. There's no imbalances. You are in perfect form, right? And then we begin living and we grow. And we have our caregivers around us. We have the world around us. We start to have experiences. Those experiences can leave impacts on us, good, bad, in between, right? That start to form opinions and subconscious mind and all those beautiful things that go into the free will of being a human being. Mm-hmm. And you have to think about those almost as layers that are stacked on you. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't know as early children and teenagers and young adults that these layers are being stacked on, so you don't necessarily know how to clear imbalances. Mm-hmm. And that makes complete sense. And then the body continues to kind of keep scoring away, right, of those imbalances. And I was so imbalanced that was the shift that I knew I had to start working to bring my body and self back in balance and get in touch again with who I was, what I was.
Mm-hmm. And as you went on that journey to getting into that place of balancing, your body, your soul, your mind, what were some of the initial things that you recognized that you were going down the right path, Tessa?
Yeah, I have to say it was definitely, at first it was relief, finding some relief in the pain that I was feeling in my body, right? And some of it was just mind frame and understanding and seeing small moments where I could be more in the present. I didn't feel so much pressure. I was able to breathe deeper. I was able to start to see myself again and get that vibration, and you just hunger for life in a way coming back to me slowly. And I really want everybody, listening to hear this. It was also fundamentally understanding, which I still remind myself daily, that this life is a journey and you are not done till you take that last breath. And so I need you all to know that wherever you are on this journey, you're exactly where you're meant to be, but the work is never done. And I say that with a smile on my face because the work is the most fulfilling part. It's not a goal that you're getting to. It is the journey, right? It's the victories. It's the hardships. It's the sorrow. It's the fear. It's embracing all of those things. Right now, I'm in the midst of doing work and harnessing fear and understanding, what that is and how I can make peace with it and be friends with that voice of fear and what that looks like in my life. And that's work that I will continue to do. And then I'll dive deeper, into some more shadow work. And it's just wherever, I think it's when I started to feel literally and physically layers be removed. And that has to do with weight too. And I never went into it with the intention of losing weight. But when I tell you that heaviness dropped in inflammation, right? The core of the root of a lot of diseases, the inflammation started to recess more and more and more, and my body started to come back to me, and then the light started to shine through. My skin was brighter, my eyes were brighter, I was sleeping better, I had my smile back again, the one that I was known for as a kid. And I wasn't afraid of what was going to happen next. I was more excited. And now that's how I wake up. Now, again, I will not offer say to anybody that I have the strategy that fits all in all cases. It is a process, but we will walk on the journey together. And it's where you wake up and you've designed and painted this beautiful life around you, where each day is the goal.
That is so good. And I love the fact that you shared, Tessa, that it's like daily work, because sometimes it's like, when are we going to be done with this? It's a lifetime. This is a lifetime journey where we're always working on keeping and maintaining that balance. Because even if you think about things in daily life. We maintain our cars, we maintain our homes, we maintain everything else. We have a plan for that. And so when it comes to the care of our body, when it comes to the care of our soul and our mind, they require a level of attention that is necessary on a daily basis. And so I love that you said that we're always going to be working on something.
Absolutely. I mean, we are the greatest masterpieces we will ever work on. We are it. We are the purpose. Yes. We are the masterpiece of this life. It is not seeking outside of ourselves. You are, because what you emanate into the world is your gift. And allow it be something that's bright and light. Not all the time. Nature shows us a reflection of self, right? You have the storms, you have the wind, you have the rain beating down in a rage, you have the oceans with the tides, you have the, you have all of that. And what nature is projecting, being a mirror too, is what's going on inside of you. So just like we have to allow nature to sometimes rage, in lack of a better term, you have to gift yourself the days that are not going to be so great. And you need to sit with it, and you need to cry it out or call someone or journal. And that's where you have, and that's where I called into my life and help others with, you have the tools so we can work through those days. We can't stop those days, and nor should you. It's the balance, right? We need those days, but you know that this too shall pass, and it's always temporary. But you have to embrace and care for in such a way those days in yourself when you're in it, that you can appreciate the days when you're not, and also reflect, okay, yesterday was not great. And not great in a way that I felt I was feeling it and I wasn't allowing it to be. And so the next time that happens, you're like, today's that day. Today's the day that I need to cancel a few things, and I need to sit with myself, and I need to journal, and I need to not be on my phone, and I need to take some extra walks and some TLC, and love yourself on those days just as if you were the great days.
And that's so good. Granting ourselves permission.
Yes.
Granting ourselves permission to just be and to pour into ourselves and to reset. Because Tessa, sometimes as you shared, it's just so easy to keep going. But we need to sit within the moment of where we're at.
Oh, yes. And it's just made me think of all the sunrises that I've watched. I've always, loved the water and being in the water and paddleboarding and swimming and surfing. And it's always called me to, because it's been such a connection, a reminder to a reflection of self. And I know a lot of you probably listening can relate to those sunrises you see after the biggest storm. The one that's just, the hurricanes that have come through, and yes, there's a lot of destruction too, and we can't help that, but that next morning when that sun comes up, I don't know that I've ever seen anything as beautiful.
Oh, that's so true. It just makes me think of, there's a specific passage that said that there's clear shining that comes after the storm, after the rain. And so when you were talking about seeing that sunrise, and you're so right, Tessa, because there's something about a sunrise after a storm that's so uniquely different.
Yes, it is. It's because you've weathered it.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of relief, right? Because you know that was just temporary, and you were able to see it through while it was out of your control. You saw it through, and there's a beauty in a new beginning, right? A new day granted to you, which is the gift that we've been given to say, well, I can start this day afresh,
Oh, that is so awesome. And so for those who are listening, Tessa, and they're just really soaking in all the things that are being shared, what would be your top tip for a woman who's embarking on her journey to find that balance and fulfillment? What would that be?
Absolutely. I think it's, first off, I would like them to sit with themselves for just a moment in stillness and just thank them for exactly where they are right now, and the fact that they have come to the awareness, which is the first step, that they need to make a shift or a change or start to look at something. So I'd have them kind of reflect on their current thoughts and feelings and what's motivating this shift, before we start. And that's what I do in my courses, right? And then we get into writing a letter, which I love. So I would have them sit down and write a letter to themselves and just stay open and present and honest and really sit with self. Okay. So what got them to this point? What feels imbalanced or unsettling or uncomfortable? It could be just walking. Just walking feels uncomfortable in my body. I feel uncomfortable in my body. I have neck pain. I can't, I'm arguing all the time with my partner and spouse. It doesn't feel fulfilling. Whatever it is, you just put it all down on paper and that's it. And then what would it mean to you, right? To be able to start to call in some alignment, some balance, right? To step into your power again, to reclaim it. What is that you expect from yourself to find? And then I just really ask them to trust themselves to navigate this path with grace and courage, just like we talked about, because this is not a 30-day, 6-week course that's gonna beat this, out there. You will see once the awareness has taken hold and you're listening to this and you're like, I have to make a shift. I've got to change. Something's got to give. That's what I kept saying to myself. Something's got to give. When I was sitting wherever I could find space by myself to kind of cry and say, I can't do this like this anymore. So that's where we find ourselves. And it doesn't have to be something, so huge that it shook you to the core. It could just be something that's uncomfortable. Right? Something that's just not uncomfortable. And that's what we're going to start to unpack. But first off, we have to get to the core of trusting yourself again, right? Calling out, naming the things and saying them out loud.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so good because, having that awareness. And sometimes, Tessa, we just have to be honest with where we are at, the things that we're going through, the things that we're experiencing, because we can't heal what we conceal. And so when you were sharing, we've got to say these things out loud and to, again, be honest with where we're at so that healing can begin to take place.
Right. And that's simply if you're driving in the car and listening to this and something comes to mind, say out loud, this isn't working. This is not working. We do not need to continue on like this in this way. We can find a better way. I feel so often, and I myself was somebody who did this and felt a victim almost of life for so long. And when you start to shift that perspective and realize that you can take agency over your life, and again, don't think that this isn't for you. I'm not talking about relocating, or just quitting the job and embarking on your own. No, we don't need to go that grandiose. We can start with something small, that breathing, movement, nutrition, sleep patterns. There's so much little things, tweaks that we can start to do that start to call your power back to you, right? That's what self-care does. It calls your power back to you. You reclaim your power so you can shine and be brighter and support the people around you that you love.
Yes, and that's so, so good because when we shine brighter and when we're caring from ourselves and we can give the best version of who we are to those that are connected to us. And so this is all so good.
And I shared, somebody had shared across a quote just this week, and it really resonated with me. And you're going to have doubts to those listening, and you're going to be afraid. Lean in with me, afraid. Fear is not meant to be canceled out. It's not meant to be inconsequential. It is meant to be there with you. We're going to walk with it, holding its hand, because it's a beautiful thing that it's showing us. And I would also tell you that if you're concerned of the cost of doing the thing, making the change, you should see the price that you will have to pay if you remain as you are.
You know? That is powerful, Tessa.
Right.
We're looking at the cost and the price. That is such a powerful, powerful statement that you just made.
And I don't say that to scare you. And it's just reflect on that. What would that price look like if you just towed the line? If you just had the status quo? If you just, went with what was known and comfortable? Because sometimes the known is not necessarily good for you, right? It's just what your nervous system is used to. It's what your mind, your thinking mind, which is not you, it's a part of you, tells you that you recognize as known, and that it has to be okay because you know the outcome, even if that outcome, every time you do it, it can be so damaging to you, right? That's where we have to unpack a little bit and understand. And you know it innately. Everybody does. I did. But I had to find my way back to that wisdom.
Oh, that's so good. So good, Tessa. And so I want to kind of segue a little bit.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about snapback energy.
Absolutely. So snapback energy is a wonderful supplement. Its liver provides full liver support. As we know, the liver is the largest organ within the body. It also can regenerate. It's this magical thing. It also helps perform over 500 functions within the body. So what we do is we introduced a scientifically blended formula that has also been patented, and it goes in and it helps support the removal of a lot of toxins. It helps support healthy blood function, immunity support, metabolism support, right? A lot of people don't realize that the liver's already trying to help you with all of those things, as a beautiful partner to all the other organs within the body. And we also have within our product glutathione. The body produces it naturally, but over time it produces a lot less. So we reintroduce some of that in there to help, turn it into the beautiful powerhouse that it can be.
That's so good. So people that are listening, Tessa, where can they find this amazing supplement?
So they can go to Snapback Energy. We're actually running, we have quite a bit of inventory in the warehouse because we just did a production run. So we're running a huge 50% off sale so you can stock up so we can move the new inventory in. So go right ahead, snapbackenergy.com. I think it's StockUp50 is the coupon code. If you have any questions, you can also email me at tessa@snapbackenergy.com there.
Awesome. And for those of you that are listening, I'm going to put the link in the show notes for today. So make sure that you go there to support Tessa and get some of those wonderful supplements.
Absolutely. And they can also find me at tessaarnold.com. I do have coaching sessions that I do one-on-one and then group coaching where we start off just as we talked about today, writing that letter to yourself and work through the different stages.
Wonderful. And so if there was one final word that you could leave for the women that are listening today, Tessa, what would that be?
Goodness. I would so much. This actually makes me tear up. I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of exactly where you are right now. You are doing the best that you can do. You are doing all the things, and that's all that you should ever ask of yourself. I would say to sit with yourself, just in stillness, and take a walk even. If that's uncomfortable for you to sit in stillness, okay, get up and walk, but no ear pods, no phone, and just let your mind kind of go and see what's out there and what it is. And then I'd also say that you have everything that you could possibly need within yourself, right? You don't need to look outside yourself for it, because you are uniquely you, and there's nobody else like you in the world.
Wow. Wonderful, wonderful words. Well, Tessa, it has been my absolute pleasure hosting you on the show today.
It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. I've very much enjoyed this. So thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. And I wish you well in all of your endeavors and just the wonderful work that you are doing to bring that transformation into so many lives. So blessings to you, Tessa. And again, it was great having you on the show today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it and appreciate all of you. Thank you.
So let's wrap it all up. That was an eye-opening conversation with Tessa Arnold. I hope this episode encourages you to start tuning into the messages your body is sending. Remember that self-care is more than bubble baths and relaxation. It's about proactively supporting your health and well-being. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. You can connect with Tessa at balanceofyou.com or snapbackenergy.com to learn more about her work. And if you're looking for more ways to optimize your health naturally, visit my website at rekishiamcmillan.com and join our community. Until next time, take care and listen to what your body is telling you. I'll leave you with Proverbs chapter 12, verse 15. He who listens to counsel is wise. Hey friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may want to have more energy and improve their health naturally? Also, I would love it if you could leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It blesses me tremendously to know that this podcast is helping you. Alrighty then, it's time to go make a protein shake and go for a hike. No more days of feeling tired and drained. I'll see you in a few days for another episode. God bless.